Testing, testing. Hi, Joe. So, hello everybody. Welcome to Paul Gauguin webinar. We're just going to wait a few more minutes just to check that everyone is logged in because it's not actually starting till past. Right. Let's get started. It's just a minute to past, so I'm sure some more people will be joining us in. So first of all, let me wish you all a happy Valentine's Day. We thought it's our first Paul Gauguin webinar, and we thought what better day to do it on Valentine's Day? Because let's be honest, you're not going to find much more of a romantic destination than the South Pacific, Bora Bora, Tahiti, and the Society Islands. So for those of you that haven't sold this much about this destination, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the destination because, in all honesty, that is why customers want to go to this destination. They want to go there for the destination, and they come into you for that. It's very rare that you're going to sell somebody to go to the South Pacific for, say, May half term. You know that's not going to happen. It's quite far away, so they're going to come in and most 9 times out of 10 direct you and say that they want to go to the South Pacific. So I'm going to explain why it has to be Paul Gauguin. So, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Natalie Reed, and I am the regional sales manager for the South at the cruise portfolio. And yeah, this is my picture because I was lucky enough to go on Paul Gauguin just last year. I have to say, of all the fam trips I've ever been on my life, and I've been pretty lucky, this has to be up there as one of the best. That picture, as you can just see the crystal clear waters and the little atolls and the islands in the distance. Um, the lady with the white t-shirt there is our Jenna from the office. So if you ring the cruise portfolio, that's Jenna. Me with the yellow headscarf on. Don't judge me. I'm on holiday, and then I'm with a bunch of agents and tour operators. And I'll just mention tour operators whilst I'm chatting because actually, um, we do work quite a lot with tour operators on this product. So because we do a lot of 7-night cruises, and you're not going to do a 7-night cruise around the South Pacific. We do it as a pre and post option. So I want you to think about, hopefully there's some agents out there that don't just sell cruise and they have a lot of holiday customers come in looking for that honeymoon experience. And Paul Gauguin's a great way of introducing a 7-night pre and post cruise, pre and post stay, sorry, with our cruise. And our tour operator partners can help you do that. So I promise there's not too many of my snaps. I won't bore you too much. Okay. So somebody says that they can't hear. So I'm guessing Nat, who's moderating this, thank you very much. You can hear me okay. So yeah, I'm just going to go down. Yeah. So everyone can hear me fine. So if you can't hear me, it's due to your end, I'm afraid, not my end. Okay. Right. So let's crack on with the presentation and discuss why it should be Paul Gauguin. Now, as you know, at the Cruise Portfolio, we do represent some rather nice brands. But if I personally was going to the South Pacific, I would go on Paul Gauguin Cruises. And why would that be? She has a flat-bottomed hull, and you can see there she has a marina at the back. Now, the marina's pretty special, but it's really all about that flat hull. She can get into the lagoons and the bays that no other cruise ship. And as we've chatted about, I just mentioned at the start, it's very much, somebody has come to you and they want to go to the South Pacific because they want to explore it. It's all about the destination. If you don't sell them Paul Gauguin, they're going to be missing so many opportunities. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the islands in a little bit more detail later on. But for example, the first island that we visited, Wahini, I love saying that. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I like saying it, was just absolutely beautiful. And we got right into the lagoon. You would miss that maybe if you weren't on a Paul Gauguin cruise. Also Bora Bora. We anchor up in the lagoon because we can get into the lagoon. 80% of the rooms on Paul Gauguin have a balcony. And sometimes, with cruising, if customers on a bit of a budget, we say you don't need a balcony, Paul Gauguin, book them on a balcony. There is no bad view. Sometimes, those of you that sell cruising, you're going to a port and it's cranes and things like that. Not on this ship. You wake up every day and every afternoon, you're just in the most romantic destination. And in Bora Bora, I remember we were sat on the balcony having a cup of tea, maybe it was a glass of wine, and the ship just swings gently in the breeze. So 1 minute you're looking at the mountain, then you look up from reading your book, and then you're looking at some sailing ships passing by. It really is beautiful. And I must mention Tahiti, little Tahiti. We cruise through the surf. So basically, over the years, the surf has eroded the coral. So the ship is able to cruise through. On either side is surfers. It's absolutely fantastic. And that's an experience that's very special and stayed with me. So just going on to the ship and the size of it. So it's 332 guests, which is, and as I mentioned, 80% balconies. It's just under 20,000 tons. So that's a really, really good size and just intimate enough to make it really nice, relaxed, casual. There's no dressing up on this ship. Again, it's all about the destination. From the moment you step on the Polynesian Islands, off the plane, you're greeted by their special, unique charm, and that follows through when you go onto the Paul Gauguin cruise. If you didn't put them on a Paul Gauguin cruise, they wouldn't have that same experience with all the entertainment of the Gauguin girls. It really, really is special. And they're just so lovely, and you just can't help smiling the whole time that you're on the trip. Longer port stays. So this is something again to consider when you're looking at the South Pacific. Paul Gauguin is based in the South Pacific all year round. That's what we do. That's all we do. Okay, we're off to Bali, but that's only because we're having a refurb at the end of April. So we do it and we do it well. A lot of other ships will be doing it as part of their world cruise. So you won't be having the same experience. And for example, we do an overnight in Bora Bora. So I'll talk about it a little bit more when we chat about honeymooners. But there's a really nice option where you can go and stay overnight in the beach bungalows. So it's all inclusive. And with that all inclusivity comes gratuities, fine wines, high end spirits. It's French themed, so the food is French. What is not to love about that? We all love a creme brulee, let's be honest, and we do in our office anyway at Cruise Portfolio. And also, if you love fish, up on the top deck at La Grill, you will have the best and the largest scallops you've ever tasted in your life. It's all fresh. It's all freshly caught. It's just beautiful. The only thing that's not included are your shore excursions and your spa treatments. The shore excursions are actually very, very good value, but quite often than not, you don't actually need to do that many shore excursions because the destination itself with the beaches and everything, those are the shore excursions in themselves. But I'll talk about some options of shore excursions when we talk about the islands. So going back to the all inclusivity, um, when you're booking somebody to the South Pacific, you all know it. They come in, that honeymoon couple, they want to go there, and then they look at the cost and they nearly fall off their chair. Well, as I mentioned, if you combine a Paul Gauguin cruise with a pre and post stay to make it their 14-night holiday, it becomes such great value because of that all inclusivity. Because even though it is the most beautiful destination I've ever been to in my life, it is rather expensive. I'm not going to lie to you. So to be able, when you get there, as far as a glass of wine, a beer, food, because it's so remote. So to be on an all-inclusive cruise is just a fantastic way of seeing this part of the world. So it is Valentine's Day. So we did think we'd give you a little treat with a couple of nice little pictures. I am, of course, talking about the beaches. So the top beach there is our own private beach on Bora Bora. So this is just magical. And then the bottom picture there is of a beautiful, beautiful island, and that is our own private island. I think this was my favorite day. It's hard to say. Wahine, Bora Bora is pretty special, but I think the private island day was just magical. The water so crystal clear. We just went off snorkeling. You can't see it there, but it's actually quite a big island. And you can go off exploring different atolls and different islands as well, if you're quite a good swimmer. Or you can just sit on the sun loungers, because guess what? They bring the all exclusivity to you. So, yeah, somebody just put a message as my lifeguard. Yeah, yeah, I could save me any time. I'd be quite happy with that. So yeah, the all inclusivity, it comes up to the beach. And they bring all the water toys as well to the beach. If you ever tried a little bit of rum in your coconut, it's amazing. And after a day of lounging on the beach, if you're feeling a little bit active, then there's loads of water sports to try on PG. This is another element that I absolutely loved, the marina off the back. Of course, we're going into the lagoons, so it's really it's easy. I say it's easy to paddleboard. It's still quite good for the core, but still quite hard. Jenna got really good at it in the office. I was a bit more of a kayaker. I like to sit down, if I'm honest with you. But one of the things that I did really enjoy was diving. I haven't dived for years, so I did a refresher course. It was only $99, and I think every other dive was $99. So yeah, this was really good. So single guests I've just seen come through from James. We have some porthole rooms, which we don't normally, as I mentioned, recommend. We always recommend the balconies. So if we do, I think they come in around about 60 to 70%. But to be honest with you, it's not really. It's pretty much a couple's product, though we do get solos come. So yeah, it's a case by case basis. If I'm wrong by that, I'm sure Nat, aka Megan today, will correct me. But yeah, around about 60-70%, I think, for solos on the in the port grades. But yeah, diving off the back of the ship is brilliant. One of the things as well that was really special when I was there, it was October time, And we saw stingrays on the tenders when we were on our way to Bora Bora, and then we kept seeing whales. We got really good at spotting them at the end. And when we were out on the Zodiacs, we got really close to a pod of whales. That was really incredible. But you can see them from the top deck as well. So it's a very immersive special cruise. As far as service go, we win a lot of awards on Paul Gauguin, and actually, for every 1.5 guests, there is a member of crew. So for anybody who sells high-end luxury cruising, you will recognise that that is a really high guest to staff ratio. Now, as it's Valentine's Day, let's talk about getting blessed. Yeah, we do blessings on board, and we talked about honeymoon packages. So we do really, really good honeymoon packages. But also, I just want to mention that overnight that we do in Bora Bora. You can, through Paul Gauguin, you can book the Intercontinental Thalasso beach bungalows. They're stunning. I mean, they're a little bit of a cost, but again, you're able to give that honeymoon experience to somebody who perhaps couldn't afford to stay a week there. They can do a lovely little night there. It's very, very special, and hopefully their wedding guests will pay for it as a wedding present for them. So that would be nice, wouldn't it? Um, oh yeah, there we go. They start from around 55%, the solar supplements. So let's talk about the islands. Oh, Megs has put a couple of extra of my pictures in. Um, the one, sorry to talk about my holiday snaps, I know it's really boring, but the one on the right just reminds me of the Bounty advert. Is anybody old enough to remember the Bounty adverts, or is that just me? So yeah, I took that picture just on my phone, and that's on the private island. So you can just walk around it. It's just incredible. And then yeah, that's me being a little bit active on the kayak, the other picture. But anyway, back. Good, good. I'm not the only one that remembers that Bounty Island. Well, that is the South Pacific, I tell you. You won't find a more beautiful place in the world. So let's look at the itinerary. So this 7-night core is what we do. We don't deviate. We do this 7-night core, and then we add on 10 nights, 40 nights. The only one that's slightly different is when we go to Fiji. So we start in Tahiti. I would recommend always booking your customer, say, for example, in the Intercontinental or a hotel a couple of nights before they arrive. A, because of the jet lag, but B, because out of all the ports, this one's the one where, it's the main hub of the Tahitian Islands. So it's still beautiful, but there are still, there's a few shipping containers and everything there. So make sure you book them into a hotel on arrival into Papiti. Get them fully immersed in the Polynesian way of life, the beautiful beaches, and then they'll step on board Paul Gauguin and we'll take them island hopping. After the first night in Tahiti, so they can arrive on the ship. They don't have to stay in a hotel. They can arrive straight, because we always do a night in Tahiti, and they can fly straight from LA. But first day island hopping is Wahine, and this, as I mentioned, we go straight into Lagoon. They've got Le Truck, and Le Truck will just take you around the island. It's on a schedule, and you just get on and off where you want, and then you can go off and explore the island. Brilliant. Then we have our day on our private island. I think I've chatted. I think you get the gist that I quite liked the day on the private island. Then we have the overnight in Bora Bora. This is great. So you can go off, do your exploration, go off and see Bora Bora. If anybody's a fan of the film, The South Pacific, and then the next day, for example, you can chill out and go to the beach. As I mentioned, they bring all the water tours to the beach. That is actually me in Bora Bora kayaking with the mountains in the background. And then we end up in Moorea. I loved Moorea because you cruise into Moorea up having breakfast up on the deck, and it's really mountainous. It's just stunning. It's like being in Jurassic Park. There's no beaches in Moorea. So this is the day, if your customers want to do a short excursion, this is the day, and I'd recommend the Jeep Safari. And then we end up in Tahiti, before back into Tahiti. Let me just tell you a quick price, of the 7 nights. So a fly cruise price with BA from London is 4,777. That's for a window room. If they upgrade to a balcony, that's £5,407 per person. So fly cruise price. I think you're seeing the value of Paul Gauguin, hopefully. 10 night society, islands and Tuamotus. I'm going to hope I said that correctly. And then 11 nights Cook Islands. I'm lucky enough to have traveled to the Cook Islands. Anybody who's been will know how beautiful they are. I love them just as much as the Society Islands. I'd highly recommend that cruise. And I'd highly recommend the 10-night Tuamatus cruise if people are into diving and snorkeling, because that's supposed to be the best diving in the world. So I want to go back. But going back to the Cook Islands, 3rd of October, 11-night cruise. Now, this is in the porthole, which I wouldn't really recommend unless the solo customer, and that's leading in at £6,500, or 8,109 for a balcony. So just give you an idea of the difference there. So yeah, when you ring up to quote, always quote for a balcony if it's for a couple. And then we have the Marquesas Islands. These are a little bit different. You tend to find the longer the cruise, the older the clientele get, because they're doing it more as an actual cruise. We also get a lot of people that will do this on their way back from Australia and New Zealand. What a great way after, it's quite full on touring Australia and New Zealand. So to be able to just not have to worry about unpacking a suitcase on a 10 or a 14-night cruise, depending on their duration, or a 7-night cruise is great. So the Marquesas are a little bit different, and they don't have any beaches. They're a bit more like Morea. But the good thing is, the 7-night, they will still have the Society Island. So they still have all the lagoons and the beaches experience. And then they go on to the Marquesas Islands. And yes, and they are great for bird watching, more wildlife and walking and hiking, more about the scenery. And then finally, we have Fiji, Tonga, Cook and Society Islands. This is a great cruise. They're really popular. We only do 2 of them a year, and that's quite simply because we have to go from Tahiti to Fiji because it's so far away, and then, well, a little bit further away, and then Fiji back to Tahiti. As I mentioned, gets booked up quickly, so start looking at next year. We're going at the end of May, beginning of June. So yeah. Now, before I finish off, because I have overrun, but I can't help it because I love it, so I do apologise. But Paul Gauguin, this is really important. Paul Gauguin is going in for a refurb at the end of April. So for anybody who's sold Paul Gauguin before, you're going to see quite a transformation. This is La Palette. I love this area. Relaxed bar at the back, and under the stars, dancing at night. It's just so much fun. So this give you an idea, a couple of pictures of what the refurb is going to look like. Really, really modernizing Paul Gauguin. These are the rooms. So the grand suites, the penthouse suites, and then the balconies. So whilst that is an artist's impression, that view of Bora Bora is what your customers will have from their balcony. So take your sweetie to Tahiti because it is Valentine's Day. This is the promotion. It does finish today, tomorrow. But if anybody comes in today looking for a Valentine's present for their wives or partners, then yes, please do direct them in our way. And then somebody's asked for brochures. It just leads me on to this slide nicely. This is a little DM that you can send out to customers, or of course we have brochures. 21 is on sale, and we have the 21 brochure as well. But anything you need, just let us know at sales@cruiseportfolio.co.uk. And we do some great little window displays for Paul Gauguin as well. So if you fancy having us, let us pimp up your window with the South Pacific. Quite a nice destination maybe to promote at the moment, far away from the world and viruses. I won't say any more than that because I want to end on a high I hope you've enjoyed this wonderful destination. I think you can tell how much I love it. And we'd be delighted to work with you for Paul Gauguin Cruises. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Does anybody have any questions? No, I think that's it. Like I said, we will follow up with you all that have logged in. And if you ever have any customers, I'll happily chat to them on the phone because it is very, very special. So, yeah, I want to share my experience.